Okay, people are really mad about this Judge Kavanaugh nomination. They're mad across the country. Everybody's mad. His family and Dr. Ford, they've gotten vicious threats. And as guest says, an important backstory here that everybody's ignoring. It's a big government problem. We're bringing in Crime Prevention Research Center founder John Lott Jr. He joins me now. Great to see you, John.
Thanks for having me on.
Why do you say it's a big government is a big problem here? Why everybody's so mad about the Supreme Court?
Well, the more is at stake, the more upset people get. I mean, you see this not only in terms of judicial confirmations, but you just see it in terms of things like campaign finance spending. You know, you go back and you look at the beginning of the country. In the first 50 years, it took an average of just over 2 days to confirm a Supreme Court justice. Right now, we're talking about Kavanaugh. If he gets confirmed on Friday, that's going to be 89 days. And you see a gradual increase over time, and you can track it very clearly to the growing importance of the courts. I mean, you have all sorts of new regulatory agencies that got started in the 1960s and 1970s, the EPA, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, OSHA, you know, a whole range of alphabet agencies. And when those federal regulations got put out, people would have to take them to court in order to find out exactly what they meant. And judges now interfere or involved in all sorts of aspects of our lives that nobody would have thought about 50 or 100 years ago.
So interesting what you're saying, John. So what are you saying this too is that Congress has outsourced a lot of its own work to the Supreme Court and the courts. I mean, I think you say the circuit court cases have increased from like 21 cases per million of Americans to 223. It's grown 10 times over that time span you talked about. Is that what's going on, that Congress is basically outsourcing its job to SCOTUS?
Well, that's part of it. That's going to affect how vicious the battles are going to be over who gets on the courts. But if Congress were making those decisions themselves, then you'd find even worse campaign battles than we already see. It's basically the fact that the government's getting bigger, and maybe who gets the power to make the decisions may determine where the particular battles are getting the worst by the greatest amounts. But it's just the fact that, look, 100 years ago, the federal government was about 2 to 3% of GDP.
Yeah.
Now it's 25%.
That's a great point.
If it was as small as it was 100 years ago, would people really care that much who got elected?
John Lott, great to see you. Thank you so much for coming on with your insights. We're going to be right back, gang. Stay right there.